Did you know that witchcraft is still alive and well today, in its many forms? It's just in the past they used to hide in forests and in caves and practice their little creepy rituals. But now they're just out in the open and they're proud. They're not hiding it anymore. They're not ashamed of it. They just tell us how it is. So let's hear it from Tom Brady, arguably one of the biggest and most successful quarterbacks of American football history. He's telling us that his wife is a good witch and that most of his success could be attributed to her. So let's hear it directly from him.
Any superstitions going into the game? Any special thing you carried into the game on Sunday that you had tucked away somewhere?
I did. I always, I've learned a lot from my wife over the years. She's so about the power of intention, and believing things that are really going to happen. And she always makes a little altar for me at the game because she just wills it so much.
So he talks about the power of intention and how his wife wills it so much so that it becomes reality. So this is one of the core concepts of magic, the willpower. You will it so much that it manifests itself, whatever you desire.
And so she put together a little altar for me that I could bring with pictures of my kids. And I have these little special stones and healing stones and protection stones. And she has me wear a necklace and take these drops she makes. And I say all these mantras. And I stopped questioning her a long time ago. I did. I just shut up and listened. And at first I was like, this is kind of crazy. And then about 4 years ago, we were playing the Seahawks, and she said, you better listen to me. This is your year, but this is all the things you're going to have to do to win. And I did all those things, and by God, it worked. It was pretty good. And then in 2015, it was about early January, and she said, you know how much I love you? And I said, yeah. And she said, I just want to let you know this is not going to be your year. Oh. And of course, we lost. I said, what does 16 look like? And she said, 16 is going to be your year. So it was early January this year, and I said, babe, asking, do we have a chance? And she said, yeah, but you're going to have to do a lot of work, and you're really going to have to listen to me. So, man, I listened to her. And right after the game, she said, see, I did a lot of work. You do your work, I do mine. She said, you're lucky you married a witch. I'm just a good witch.
So I don't know if you've heard, but he said that his wife made him do all these things, say a bunch of mantras and wear some crystals and drink some potions and put some stuff on his face and whatever else he did, all those rituals. And he said, by God, it worked. Which God? The real God, the God of the universe, told us to stay away from these things. So it can't be that God. We've seen in previous videos which God they are worshipping. They told us themselves. No presuppositions were made. So one of the forefathers of modern magic was this guy called Aleister Crowley. And he was a mystic, novelist, mountaineer, and magician. He rejected his upper-class Christian upbringing and explored the darkest corners of occultism. He was an occultist, ceremonial magic, drug fiend, sex addict, mountaineer, poet, and a traitor to the British people. And this is what he looked like. And he was self-proclaimed as the Great Beast 666. And the tabloids called him the wickedest man in the world and the master of darkness. Now, he is claiming that he saw this alien figure-looking thing that appeared to him, I think, in a vision. And apparently this alien dictated an entire book to him. And this practice is called automatic writing, where you receive this information from some spiritual entities. So apparently he read this entire book called the Book of the Law. And you can see this is, even the front of the book is heavily symbolic. You can see the Masonic pillars, bow, Boaz and Yakim, and you can see some Egyptian symbols. He was heavily involved in masonry and Egyptian symbology. Now, one of the famous quotes of his book is that this is the law. So this is the entire law from the book summarized. This is the law. Do what thou wilt. There is no grace, there is no guilt. Of course there is grace. And there should be guilt when you're doing some of the things. You can't just do anything. But this is what that creepy looking alien thing or demon dictated him to write. And we can see this do what thou wilt, how it's affecting musicians and all kinds of artists, actors today, especially at Hollywood. A famous person that followed his teaching is Jay-Z, and we can see what he has written on his hoodie. It's exactly the whole law, do what thou wilt. So what does that mean? It means you can, whatever you want to do, that's what you should do. And his influence has been so pervasive in Hollywood, in the music industry, that even the Beatles gave him credit. So you can see in their Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album, they featured this Crowley, the wickedest man on the earth, this author of magic. They featured him on their album cover. It's all over the place. And let me show you a few quotes that he gave us. So he's saying, it would be unwise to condemn as irrational the practice of devouring the heart and liver of an adversary while yet warm. I don't know if I should even speak these quotes. For the highest spiritual working, one must choose that victim which contains the greatest and purest force. A male child of perfect innocence and high intelligence is the most satisfactory. So he's giving instructions on how to perform sacrifices and occultic rituals that take you further away from God and closer to the evil one. And he has lots of creepy quotes in the Book of the Law. Another one was, I was not content to believe in a personal devil and serve him in the ordinary sense of the word. I wanted to get hold of him personally and become his chief of staff. I had the same idea with God. I wanted to know God at a personal level, to know him intimately. There's another quote of his regarding the will, and it goes like this. The lords of the earth are those who are doing their will. It does not necessarily mean people with cornets and automobiles. There are plenty of such people who are the most sorrowful slaves in the world. The sole test of one's lordship is to know what one's true will is and to do it. One's lordship, it means you are the master of your life and you govern your life. For a non-believer, it sounds good. It sounds appealing. But I know I've been doing it my own way for nearly 30 years, and it hasn't worked well for me. So in the last years, since I started to know God and leaving it all to God, it's been such a fulfilling life. Not only he wrote a book of the law using automatic writing from spiritual beings, but he also wrote a book of magic. This is the book, Magic in Theory and Practice. And here is where he goes into rituals and practices, occult practices. And a lot of celebrities have been influenced by this book. And they're actually practicing it. And they're not hiding it anymore. So a really famous one is Azealia Banks. And let me show you a clip of her admitting to being a witch.
Hit single. You've tweeted sometimes about witchcraft, like very cryptically. Do you practice magic? What are your favorite spells?
The egg spell.
The egg spell?
You cleanse yourself with an egg, right? Pass the egg all over yourself, praying for all of your negativity to go away into the egg, right? But usually you do it like...
Who's she praying to? She's definitely not praying to the God of the universe, because he's told us to stay away from these practices. So, who's she praying to?
Somebody's with you to get like what the person is doing off of you. You crack it in the crossroad and you walk away and you don't look back. That works.
When did that start?
My mother practiced what you would call like espiritismo, like white table magic, prayers for the ancestors and prayers to saints and cleansing and praying for protection and all type of shit like that, you know? You know, my mother used to be doing like all kind of like, you know, candles and crazy shit. Then she'd be playing DMX, like ironing my Catholic school uniform, you know, like putting my little like Bible study book in my book bag, and I'm like walking out the house like, right, oh, duh, what y'all niggas want?
See, they're not even hiding anymore. She told us where she learned this from. It was her mother practicing this ancestral magic. Sounds chaotic. That environment was not an environment that you're supposed to raise a child in. And in that interview, she was quite tame. But in the next video, it's a live stream of hers showing us exactly what she's been doing in the last 3 years. Let's hear it from her.
The amount of crap that's about to come off my floor right now, guys. Oh my God. 3 years worth of brujeria. Yes, you know I gotta scrape all this shit up. I got my sandblaster, my goggles. It's about to go down. Real witches do real things.
You know what that is? Those are animals sacrificed in her rituals. Can you imagine the smell? Apparently, she did 3 years worth of brujeria in that apartment. So she probably bought that apartment just for ritual purposes, just to conduct her little rituals. And brujeria is the bad branch of Brazilian magic. And the other one, the good one, is called Santeria. Now, you might think some of these celebrities are joking. It's funny how nowadays they just come out and say things like, I'm a witch. She shows us the rituals and that filthy room where she used it for ritual sacrifice. In the past, they used to be a little bit ashamed of these things. They don't care anymore now. And I've got a really interesting clip of Ariana Grande. This was an older clip. Let's hear it from her.
Tommy was like, what about the devil? I was like, fun, you know? Like, what? No, sorry. Oh, God, the conspiracies that are going to come from that clip. Anyway.
You will be another member of the Illuminati. That's my favorite thing.
I love that thing, too.
Everyone always thinks we're part of the Illuminati. And somebody was like, yeah, they're witches. I'm like, if I'm a witch, I have the least amount of power in the world.
Like, but that is like such a thing. Like, I have like friends whose moms are like,
it's a thing.
Is it true? And I'm like, what?
I had a family member ask me.
Yeah, actually it is.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
So scary.
It's the weirdest thing ever.
They're actors. That's what they do. She was denying it, and that's also a Masonic tactic.
Can you do a tarot card reading for me?
Oh my God, I wish I brought them.
Yeah, what is what are you just walking around set looking to do readings
every day? No, they come to me.
Oh, interesting.
They come to me.
You are a witch?
I am indeed. The witchiest witch. Something happened recently that I actually couldn't wrap my head around. I need to remember it.
To be fair, you couldn't wrap your head around it. So
it was the witchiest thing. Yeah, I couldn't, and I didn't. I forgot it.
Clearly, you just have to keep
Wait,
going.
there was something really witchy. Oh, Jim Carrey's birthday. Thank you, Mom.
So, yesterday, I'm not a witch, and today I am. How does that work? Before, they used to hide it. They used to be like, oh no, deny everything. In the previous clip, she was almost saying, how dare you call me a witch? I'm nowhere near being a witch. I don't even know what a witch is supposed to be. I've never seen one. Come on. You can't be in Hollywood and not know about these things. And then, a few years later, she was like, yeah, I'm a witch. I said it, I meant it, I'm here to represent it. And the same theme we can see in a Megan Fox interview. Let's listen to this one.
Definitely have never been a part of a satanic ritual. Don't know any people who have been a part of a satanic ritual. I'm not sure if the Illuminati is real. It probably is. I have not been extended an offer to join. I feel like if it Definitely have never been a part of a satanic ritual. Don't know any people who have been a part of a satanic ritual. I'm not sure if the Illuminati is real. It probably is. I have not been extended an offer to join. I feel like if it was real, I would have been given an offer to join by now. So yeah, it's just to squash that. Not a Satanist or any kind of like an evil witch.
I wouldn't know what they even do. What the witches do, you know? They do rituals? Nah, I've never done those things. And listen to what she's saying just about a year ago.
Like, who's playing that character? And they were like, oh, Machine Gun Kelly. And I like kind of knew the name, but didn't. So I'm like, Machine Gun Kelly. I like look it up. And I was like, oh, fuck, we're gonna be in so much trouble. Because he's literally like my exact physical type that I've been manifesting since I was 4. Also,
See how she's saying manifesting. Remember, that's a really important part of magic. Manifesting, willing things into existence.
4 years older than him, so I think I made him, my thoughts and intentions grew him into the person that he is. Who knows what he would have looked like or been like if it wasn't for me. I guess to drink each other's blood might mislead people, or like people are imagining us with like goblets and we're like Game of Thrones drinking each other's blood. It's just a few drops, but yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes only. It is used for...
What kind of ritual purposes involves drinking blood? What kind of rituals are you practicing? Sounds like a witch's ritual. She's not part of the Illuminati. She's not part of a satanic group. She's never heard of these things. Rituals? No, what are those? And then just a few years later, she's practicing ritualistic blood drinking. Who knows what else? And I have a really interesting clip of Denzel Washington admitting to summoning spirits. Let's watch this one.
Basically what I did was got on my knees and sort of communicated with the spirits. And when I came out, I was in charge.
Powerful scene.
Powerful scene. I couldn't have acted that. I couldn't have written that down and made a decision to play that.
What, are you gonna smoke that?
Nope, you are.
Another industry where magic is heavily used is the movie industry. And they practice this thing called channeling. So they're channeling the spirit who empowers them. They come into them and helps them perform. And we just heard Denzel Washington saying that this spirit empowered him to play this role. There are so many other actors that are doing the same kind of practice. Johnny Depp famously admitted to doing it. And he said that because there's someone else playing himself in the movie, he doesn't even watch his movies because he can't recognize himself in these movies because there's someone else guiding him. Now, this artist talked about God a lot. Now, Tom Brady was talking about God made it happen, and also Azealia Banks was saying that she was praying. Now, who are these guys praying to? Were they praying to Yahweh, the God of the universe, or some other God? Let's see what the Bible has to say about this. So, this is in Deuteronomy 18, and it says, starting at verse 9, "When you come into the land that the Lord your God is giving you, you shall not learn to follow the abominable practices of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone who burns his son or his daughter as an offering, anyone who practices divination, or tells fortunes, or interprets omens, or a sorcerer, or a charmer, or a medium, necromancer, one who inquires of the dead, for whoever does these things is an abomination unto the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord your God is driving them out before you. So God clearly doesn't approve of these practices. And not only he doesn't approve of them, but thinks of them as an abomination. He likens the sin of witchcraft to stubbornness. And I wonder why. I think it's because when you're stubborn, you're trying to do things your own way. So magic is pretty much the same thing, is doing it your own way. You're willing it, you're doing all these things, like preparing potions and saying these mantras. You're doing everything except for trusting in God. You're trusting in your own power to do it. The devil is a trickster and a magician. Let's read Exodus 7, verses 8 to 13. So the Lord told Moses and Aaron, when Pharaoh says to you, perform a miraculous sign, then you are to say to Aaron, take your staff and throw it in the front of Pharaoh. The devil is a trickster and a liar, and he can perform fake miracles of his own. We can read of a similar story in Exodus 7, and it says, then the Lord told Moses and Aaron, when Pharaoh says to you, perform a miraculous sign, then you are to say to Aaron, take your staff and throw it in front of Pharaoh. It will become a serpent. So Moses and Aaron went into Pharaoh and did what the Lord had commanded them. Aaron threw his staff in front of Pharaoh and his officials, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called for the wise men and sorcerers, and along with the Egyptian magicians, did the same thing with their secret arts. It's exactly what God told us not to do. Not do sorcery, magic, secret arts. Jesus said, I have done nothing in secret. So each one threw down his staff and it became a serpent, but Aaron's staff swallowed up their staffs. Yet Pharaoh's heart was stubborn. See? Stubborn. As I said, witchcraft is as stubbornness in God's eyes. And he did not listen to them, just as the Lord had said would happen. And just to understand why God told us not to do these things, he always explains to us why we shouldn't do these things. So we can see in 1 Samuel chapter 28, beginning at verse 3. Now Samuel had died, and all Israel had mourned for him, and buried him in Ramah, his own city. And Saul had put the mediums and the necromancers out of the land. The Philistines assembled and came and encamped at Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel, and they encamped at Gilboa. When Saul saw the army of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart trembled greatly. And when Saul inquired of the Lord did not answer him, either by dreams, or by Urim, or by prophets. Then Saul said to his servants, seek out for me a woman who is a medium, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant says to him, behold, there is a medium at Endor. So Saul disguised himself and put on garments and went, he and 2 other men. So Saul disguised himself and put on other garments and went, he and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night. And he said, divine for me by a spirit, and bring up for me whomever I shall name to you. The woman said to him, surely you know what Saul has done, how he has cut off the mediums and the necromancers from the land. Why then are you laying a trap for my life to bring about my death? But Saul swore to her by the Lord, as the Lord lives, no punishment shall come upon you for these things. Then the woman said, whom shall I bring up for you? He said, bring up Samuel for me. When the woman saw Samuel, she cried out with a loud voice. And the woman said to Saul, why have you deceived me? So, why is God telling us not to do these things? Because we will be deceived. We will be deceived by these demons, by these dead spirits. They're not the spirits of the dead. The Bible tells us the dead know nothing. So if the dead know nothing, how can they tell you anything? So God tells us not to do these things, because when we practice these things, we open doorways to demons. And they can afflict us, they can bother us, they can even possess us. And you know, the wisest man that ever existed, King Solomon, he practiced demonology, and later he said it's all vanity. The devil is trying to trick us. These demons that they're contacting. They don't want the best for us. They want to trick us. They want to rob us of our happiness and of everything that God has provided for us. Don't listen to them. They have nothing to offer us, and they only have a temporary treasure to give us. Nothing that they're offering us is something that will last forever. It's only temporary. It's only things that you enjoy during this world. Don't give up your eternal life for temporary pleasure. See you in the next one.